Hey everyone, so I'm excited for this one. My Spanish club, Nordeste Orientación, has an event coming up here in about 2 weeks' time, and the map is more or less done, just a few minor tweaks left to go. And now comes the fun part of putting together some courses and the map design. By the map design, I mean the border around the map title, the text that tells you the scale, the contour interval, all the logos, um, and a few other things. So in this video, I want to just walk you through how I'm going to put together the map design for that event, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so let's get started. I'll show you the map that we're going to be working with today. Here it is. So this is the actual map file with all the different elements on the map. And what I'm going to want to do to start my design file is to create a new map. I will pick the same symbol set and scale 4000 as this is a sprint map, and then I want to open the actual map that I just showed you as a template. So here it is, and it's going to prompt me just for the georeferencing, which will be the same as the template. And there we go. So you'll see down in the bottom right that I have my map open as a template. If I click hide, it'll disappear, just like normal templates when we're working on our actual map. But the nice thing here is that I can't actually select anything. So I can't mess up my map while I'm working in here. And this will allow me to develop out my design around the map without moving anything by accident. And then if I save this file and later on I go ahead and make changes to the original map file, well, those changes will be reflected here in this template. So the design file will always be up to date. So now the first thing that we want to do is just have a look at kind of what paper size we're going to put the map design together. So you can see here on the right, I have A4 and the scale is 1 to 4000. That's what I want. So I want to keep it at 1 to 4000. The nice sprint scale, I don't really want to have to change it to 1 to 5000. And I want to print on A4. So you'll see that my map fills up actually a lot of this page, a lot of this page. Normally, when you get a map, there's a lot of white space around the map for all the details that your map design needs. But here, the actual map is filling up a lot of this A4 page, which isn't ideal, but we're going to work with it. I know that I can kind of move this up because this bottom bit of the map isn't going to be used. The top bit is, so, we are quite tight. But anyway, you just file print and then view different page sizes to figure out what size of a map design you're going to put together. So I'm going to put together one for an A4 page. Okay, so to help us with this, I'm going to turn on the grid, which you can use this button for, or click G. And I want to set this grid size using millimeters on map, horizontal 210, and vertical 297. So I picked that size because that's the size of an A4 page. 29 centimeters, 29.7 centimeters by 21 centimeters. Now the only thing here is I want to take 10 millimeters off each of those measurements because most printers, at least the printer that I use, I can't print right to the edge of the page. I need to leave 5 millimeters of the border on the edge of the page. So that'll result in us taking 10 millimeters off the horizontal spacing, 5 for the left and 5 for the right, and 10 off the vertical spacing, 5 for the top and 5 for the bottom. And this is going to be the border of our map design. So I'm going to create a symbol up here for that border. Create a new line symbol. Just give it some number and call it map border. Let's give it an initial width of 1 millimeter, and any color will do. So we want to fill out one grid square, which we've set to be the size of an A4 page minus our margins. Okay, there we go. Now I just want to drag it down to our map. So I know I'm not going to go further down than this. That lets me put this top part of the map there. I actually know that I'm not going to need more than the edge of this fence here. I don't need this part to the right. So I can just bring this over just to kind of center it a bit. So I'm going to set a color now for the border. I've thought about this earlier, and I think I'm going to go with a blue. So what I tend to do is just Google color picker, and you get this kind of nice tool. And I'm just going to go with some sort of a blue, and maybe this guy here. So we have the RGB values down here to the bottom left. And if I actually, I'm going to create a new color for this. Color window, and we'll just call it map design color. Calculate from RGB value, which I'm going to fill in over here. So it was 54,157,217. 54,157,217. So I've created my color, and now I'm going to change my border symbol to use that color. There we go. Okay, I'm going to save this file, and I'm just going to call it Soto Design. The map name followed by design. So now is kind of the moment to look at the map and start to think about what needs to go on the map. So what I want to put on this map here is I want to put a title. I want to put the scale of the map, the contour interval. I want to put some information about the mapper. And I want to leave space for logos. I want to leave space for descriptions. And I want to put in boxes for people to punch manually if their SI card fails. And then once you've decided what you're going to put in the map design, you need to think about where the different things are going to go. So I've had a thought about this, and my general plan is up in the top right corner here, the title, the scale, and the contour interval. To put over here in the top left, the mapper information. To leave this area in the bottom right for descriptions. I'm going to put the boxes for the SI card failure down here to the bottom left. And then I have the logos. So the logos, this space here to the right, although it's not that big, or down the left-hand side of the map here. We'll see. We'll see about the logos. Okay, so you could just go ahead and throw your title up here and the mapper information up here. But I'm going to add a little bit of color and then put the text on top of that color. So I'm going to create a new symbol, area. Let's just call it map area. And I'm going to use my blue color. Now, I'm going to just add a line for reference. And then I'm going to draw this color. So I want this kind of area to be colored, and then I need to come up around my bit of map, and then this area on the right to be colored. So let's have a look. Something to like here. And I want to come up around the bit of map and then come back down. And then bring it around. Okay. So I might bring this back a little bit. And maybe just make this a bit wider. I just know that I'm going to have one course coming into this little bit of forest, and given I'm going to put a controller 2 in here, I'm going to need a bit of space for numbers, etc. So I want to just leave that bit of space. So I'm going to get rid of my reference line here. Okay, so it's time to add some text. I'm going to create a text symbol, and we'll call this map title. And the color is going to be a white. So I can just click this white over yellow. And that is something that you can do as you get used to this, is just begin to lean on the existing colors. The only thing is you might have to start moving colors around. But given this white is on top of my blue, that will appear on top of this, which is what I want. So we'll just put the map title in, and then let's make it a bit bigger. Let's bring that back a small bit. Okay. I'm going to make that bold. And that looks pretty good. Obviously, you can begin to fiddle around. You can use the character spacing. You can change the font. But for now, just for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to keep it simple and just go with the default. So now I want some more text down here that tells me the scale and the contour interval. So I'm just going to duplicate my map title symbol, and we'll call it map text 1. And let's just write something. So that's obviously far too big at the moment, and we'll just bring it back. I forgot that I need to put this in Spanish. So this will change to Scala. Okay, I think this is still a little bit big. We'll bring it back again, scale it to 90%. And here, so I'm going to turn my grid back on, and I'm going to just make the boxes much smaller. And I just want to use this to help me ensure that these guys are on the same level, that they're lined up horizontally. So I'll protect that color just so it stops annoying me. And then just want to get these guys. Something like that. Turn the grid off to get a better view, and that looks okay. So now I'm going to take my text 1 symbol and just begin to add in some mapper information over here. So the name of the mapper, the date, we'll just put in February, it's now March. And then in Spain, what we tend to do is put in the reference. So there's a map archive online. Every map that's registered has this number. So this is the number for this map. Now, this is far too big. It doesn't look good. So I'm going to duplicate, change this one to map text 2. Then I'm going to change my mapper text to map text 2 and then scale it down to maybe something like this. Okay, so now I want to start looking at these boxes down here for the SI card failure. So one issue I've had in the past is you're putting a map design together and you draw things and it all looks great on the screen. And then when you print it out on paper, something is far too small or too big and it looks terrible. So just keep that in mind as you're putting your map design together. Obviously, you can just design it, do a run through, print it out, and then have a look and correct. But just to save that step, it can be good to just check while you're going the size of something. So for example, I have a map printed out over here, and I've looked at those boxes and I've measured them, and they were 1.5 centimeters wide. So I'm going to copy that because I know that looks okay. So let's configure our grid, and we'll do 15 millimeters vertical and horizontal spacing, which is 1.5 centimeters. Okay, so I am just going to duplicate my map border and we'll just call it map line. And I just want to scale that down a little bit. And then we're going to draw a box matching up with my grid. So this box is going to be 1.5 centimeters times 1.5 centimeters. Okay, so I have a square here, but I don't want an exact square. I want to round the corner slightly. I think it looks a little bit better. So what I want to do is just change the frequency of the lines in my grid all the way down to 1 millimeter. And then I can just come in and I want to add a point around this corner point. So I'm going to move down 2 lines, and on the second line, create a new point. Here again, create a new point. And I'm going to do that all the way around the square. And then I'm going to get rid of the corner points, switch to line mode with L, and then control and click on these corner edges. And we get this nice rounded box. So I want 3 of these. So what I want to do now is line these boxes up nicely, make them evenly spaced. So I'm going to turn up my high frequency grid again. And then, let's see. Okay, I want to line the grid up with my map border really. So let's move the horizontal offset 0.2, that's good enough. And then we'll move this vertical offset to 0.5, bit more, 0.7. Okay, so I'm going to leave 3 millimeters, which is 3 boxes, between the map border and my box here. So there we go. We've got 3 boxes on the left. We've got 3 grid boxes below. And then I want to bring these other guys over. So again, leave 3 grid boxes below them. And let's leave 3 grid boxes between them. And there we go. There's our boxes. They're all the exact same size, the same shape, and they're all evenly spaced. Okay, so I need another text symbol, map text 3, and I'm going to make this one black. So I'm just making use of the existing colors now. And I want to just add a little text in here, or 1, or 2, or 3. And then another bit of text up here saying use in case your SI card fails. Let's just ensure this is nice and centered. So let's say 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay. And we'll save that. The map's starting to look pretty good. It's coming together. Now, one thing that I want to do now is just get rid of these little bits of the map that are sticking out. So particularly the bits of the map outside of the border. But also, for example, these contours hanging off the edge of the map, let's just cover them up. So for this, I'll duplicate my map area. And let's just call it map cover. No, we'll call it white cover. Okay, I want to change the color to white, which would be this one. This is the one I was using for the text. But then it's going to cover the blue. So it's going to cover the border. And I don't want that. I want to just create another white beneath the blue. So white beneath blue, RGB, and white is all 255. And then move it down beneath the blue, and there we have it. So now, change the color of this white cover symbol to white beneath blue, and now we can start to use it. So, I'm covering up bits of the template that I don't want to see, but my white is underneath the blue border. Let's do the same over here. And as I was saying, we can get rid of just some of these contours hanging off the edge of the map. So this is as far as I'm going to take it in Open Orienteering Mapper. Now I like to move to Purple Pen, and that's where I add the logos. That's where I add, special text like the name of the course, etc. But the basics, I do it in Open Orienteering Mapper. The map title, any text that's needed, those little boxes. And I'm going to save this map now, and we'll open it up in Purple Pen. Okay, so we'll create a new event in Purple Pen. We'll choose our design map file, A4, and a margin of 5 millimeters. That's what I accounted for when I drew the border around the map. Portrait. Okay, so let's just fix this print area. And there we go. So you'll see now the print area fits very nicely with my map's border, because we did that calculation where we took the size of an A4 page and we subtracted off the margins. But you'll see if I export a PDF for this, you'll see that there is this white space around the map border. And that white space is the margin of 5 millimeters. The printers that we're using, they can't print right up to the edge of the page. I think it's common among orienteering map printers, they can't print right up to the edge of the page, and they recommend this border of at least 5 millimeters around the map. At least that's my experience with the printers that we use. So now to add in my logos, I'm going to just chuck them all in, and then we'll think about tidying them up. So really looking at this, I actually think that the club logo looks nice up on its own here in the corner. Because this logo is quite long, I might put it down here where it fits nicely. We're going to put these over here on the right together. They kind of make sense together, the place where the event is and the local government. And actually this little north arrow goes well up here. Okay, so we'll save this. We have our logos in place. So now I'm going to quickly bring up a course just so I can show you us filling this gap down here in the bottom right with descriptions, which will make our map design more or less complete. So here's our final map design. There's a nice course on the map. We have our descriptions in the space in the bottom right that we left for them. We've got the title of the course here, and then everything else that we added before. So you can see there's really not a lot of space spare. We have our start and the first few controls right down here at the bottom of the map. And we have controls also right up at the top of the map. So I hope that was helpful and interesting. If you like the video, please give it a like, consider subscribing, and